Also, if you need to go back and reference any information that we've discussed today, it will be on the JPE YouTube channel. And we sent that QR code. It also came on your magnets. It's a quick reference to press. So if you need to go back and reference anything, I'm going to go ahead and start. My name is Miss Feutch, and I teach ELA. I have been with my husband for 21 years, married for 19. We have an 18-year-old daughter. She currently attends LSU. I've been teaching first grade for 12 years now, and I have been at JPE since the school first opened. I have a dog named Bo and a cat named Zeppelin. And that's about it for me.
I'm Jennifer Falcon. I've been teaching for 18 years, first grade most of my career. And I have my husband and I have been married for 25 years. I have a 19-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 2-year-old child, just to add to the fun. And I teach all subjects this year. And I'm enjoying that very much, teaching all the subjects to my babies. And I love teaching first grade. I absolutely love it.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Miss Ballard. I have been at JPE. This is my second year. My husband and I have only been married going on our second year. I teach math and social living to some of your students. And this is my first year in first grade. So last year I taught fourth. So it's been a transition, but it has been so fun. I absolutely love working with the first graders. Everything is joyous. Everything is exciting, and I absolutely love it. So I'm so grateful that you guys are here, and I hope that it's very informative for you as well.
Okay, I'm going to go over a few things. Oh, if you notice, our sensor lights go out if you don't move too much in the classroom. One of the things that we would like to discuss about is procedures. So I know a lot of you are familiar with these binders that we had purchased for the kids. Those are how we communicate back and forth daily. So if you could check the binder, there's a lot of good information in there. I always remind my parents to keep the handouts at least for the week. It's a good way to study, to go back and reference if they didn't understand something, or if you want to practice again, go back and look at that. I teach ELA, so I also would recommend your sight words. Create an index, use index cards, and every week write the word on the index card, and then you will have a stack of them before too long. I always tell my parents to play a little game with them. Show the sight word and give them 3 seconds to read that word. If they don't read it in 3 seconds, you get to keep the paper. If they read it, they get to keep it. And it's like a little game and doesn't take very long. And what you want is eventually them to have the bigger stack, the bigger stack of the deck. That's a good way to always keep those sight words, and they're constantly seeing them. And the more they see them, the more it's, it's instantly in their head. Another thing, I know the colors have been all over the place, but that is all 3 of us setting our expectations. So the first 3 to 4 weeks we do that. We typically do not send them to the office. We may have Miss Kennedy come down and give them a talk, but after the first 3 to 4 weeks, then we start the step plan. And if they get on red, then they will be sent to the office and we will start from there. And I also like to remind the parents, green is good. Mm-hmm. Your children have been in this classroom for 7 to 8 hours, and they've done amazing. If they have to move their clip one time, then that's a great day. They get a check for it. It's green. We don't expect anyone to be perfect. And so it's okay if your child gets on green. Another thing, we have been writing A1, which is the major issues I think all of us have. That code is just a disruption. That means they're talking in the middle of a lesson or they're disrupting their classmates. And we've already issued several warnings. And so the reason that we put A1, that's going to be for just a disruption somehow. We're no longer going to write on the back what happened because we notice we're running out of room. So we're going to save the back of the comment page for major things. Like if hands and feet or something to yourself, or willful disobedience, or disrespect, things like that, we'll start writing on the back. But if you see A1, which is typically what we will write on there, because that's usually what first graders will do, that just means that it was a disruption of some sort. If it is something that is important, we think you need to know, then we'll definitely write it on the back. You will get your graded papers. They go home every Thursday. Every Thursday they should go home, and you will look them over. I write R for return because I don't like writing the letter D and F on there because I feel like the kids get discouraged. So R just means return. You will sign your name. All of you did a great job with that. You signed your name on the right week and returned it the next day. So that's what we're looking for. But please remember to discuss with your child the things that they missed to kind of help them for next week's lessons. The comment section. I always tell my parents, you can write a comment to me, but I'd rather you write a comment to your child, like great job this week, or awesome job, or try to work harder. Something to encourage them, that comment section is really for them after you discuss the papers with them. The binder also goes home daily. It's essential that they bring it back the next day. When we have a child that doesn't have it, it's very hard for us to communicate, and then their papers go in their book sacks and it gets all crumbled, and half the time the parents won't see it. And sometimes those are very important papers that the office has sent that you will need to know. Hopefully I'm not talking too fast. This binder I wanted to go through too. If it's something to return to school, we'll put it here, but we also put important papers here too, because I notice a lot of parents, this is the first place they're going to look at. So just look at it. If it's here, it usually means return to school. I keep their homework their homework paper for ELA right here. That way, every day they have it, and every day you have it, and you know where it's at. This is for communication from all of you. If you have notes that some concerns or anything that you want to let us know about, take this paper out, write it down, and then we'll address that and send it back to you. Give you a phone call, an email, if you want a conference, whatever it is you need, go ahead and write the date and the concern that you have. And then these folders you see on the inside, you're going to see a yellow, you're going to see a orange, and you're going to see a blue. The only information that goes in here for me, I'll speak for me, and I'll let Journey speak for Miss Ballard speak for herself. If you see any papers in this orange, that means your child did not complete what we did in class that day. So I always tell them that's their homework. If they didn't complete it in class because they were playing or because they didn't get it done, they struggled with it, and I tried to help them and we still didn't get it done, that's where you're going to find the papers that they need to work on at home. If they complete everything, it goes in the very back, keep it home. And those are the papers that I would like for y'all to keep to kind of help them study to get ready for the test for the week. But again, that's up to you. We don't send an ELA. We don't send a lot of homework. Eventually, we'll start sending like a fluency paper. It's really about how you want to study with your child. If you need some suggestions on how to study for robust or how to study for sight words or phonics, you can ask. I'm more than happy to give you some games to play or some websites or anything that you can go, extra resources you may need. So just reach out to me. My email is candy.feutch@lpsb.org. I think it's also, I think it's on our sheet. I'm not sure. I know it's on our website. And that's it for me. So if you want to talk about your
Sure. Okay, so I'm seeing that a lot of parents for the math portion of the folder, there seems to be confusion, totally understandable, about what each thing is for. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to print labels for each side of the folder. One's going to say homework and one's going to say return to school. And then they'll keep their daily math in that return to school that they do not do at home. The only thing that they'll need to do at home is if it's in the homework. And it's going to look like this. It's going to look like just a regular worksheet. The daily math, you'll see it says day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And so you can see that it's broken into different sections for each day. My goal is not to send homework home every day. And typically when we do, it's just maybe 3 questions, 4 questions, 5 at the most. And that's really to check in and see how your child is doing on their own with that work. So like I said, that will be a little bit more clear. And then of course, if you're unsure about something, you can send me a question on Remind. I try to respond immediately, especially for homework, because I know you want to get that done and have that finished. But typically your child will have homework Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for math. Social living, we really won't have homework. I'm not going to say never, but it's very uncommon that we will. But for math, that would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. And like I said, I'm going to make something, a little label, kind of like how you see below. I guess I could show you in the front here, that just says homework. And that way, you know, this is what they need to do today. And then I think that's pretty much it. Touching on what Ms. Feutch said about the colors in the back. So like I have A1 here. We're not going to comment on this side about this, about that A1. That's what she was referring to, because you know that your chart's telling you here that that was just a disruption for that day. So that's what she was referring to regarding that, just because like she said, we're running out of room for comments, and we really only want to comment when it's something circumstantial, like if they're being willfully disobedient or if they're putting their hands on another student or something like that. So I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to discuss. Everything else Ms. Feutch and I are pretty much on the same page for. If it's in the return to school portion of the binder, that's something that needs your attention and needs to come back to us. So, oh yeah, my email address, every week I send home a newsletter. The goal is for it to be Monday. This week it went home on Tuesday. And there's a section that says contact. It has my Remind code, it has my email, and it has my the school phone number as well. But just in case, my email is journey, JOURNEY .James, JAMES, it's my maiden name, at lpsb.org. So you can reach me through that or through my Remind as well.
I will get her to put mine on there as well. That way you can just reference that page.
Okay. And I'm a little different because they teach shared children, and I just teach one group of kids. So the way that I use the binder, I didn't know that's how y'all were using it. So I'll just tell you how I use it. My children, any completed work from any subject is going to go into the folders for me, for Ms. Falcon. So all their work that they complete in math goes in here, along with their homework is in here. But I'm going to do the same thing that Ms. Ballard is doing, where it's going to say homework or keep it school or return to school. So that way you'll know what's what. And so I'm sorry that that's been confusing, that we do it differently. For reading, same thing. I send home whatever we completed for today in the orange folder. But the same thing is what Ms. Feutch said. I don't send a lot of written homework for reading. There'll be reading homework, and then of course studying the sight words and the vocabulary words and the phonics skills, but there won't be much written homework in reading. And then just whatever we complete in social studies and science, I put in the blue folder, but just so that you can see what we're doing. On the bottom of the social studies and science page, there's true false questions. And I will say that at the end of the unit, a lot of those questions are on the test. So it's a great little big study guide day to day for the children to be able to look at and for you to go over with them, because some of them can be a little confusing with true and false. So that might help you, to study with your child. But in the front, the only thing that I put in the front is any notes that need to be returned to school. And if you're sending a note for your child to turn in for me, please put it in the front, because it's the first thing they check in the morning. And then of course, anything that can be kept at home goes in the back. Okay. So I hope that helps. And I'm sorry that I don't do it exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
And then just one other thing. I know that Ms. Feutch said that she writes an R. I do something similar. I just stamp it with a red stamp, which it might be kind of hard to see. It looks like a pencil. It's in red ink. And so if it's stamped, that means it's either a D or an F, and I'm not going to write that grade because we don't want the children, like Miss Feutch said, to feel insecure about a grade. It's not about the grade. It's about trying to grow from the errors. And so if you would just sign the little pencil and return it. And so I put the side, anything that's on this side is going to be the stuff you sign and return. And then the things that are on this side that say keep it home, those are the papers that you can keep. And then of course, sign the back. So, and y'all did great with that the first time. So I appreciate it.
Okay. Now ours is a little different just because Journey and I, Miss Ballard and I teach together. So I teach ELA to all of your students and she teaches the math, social studies, and the science and the music and art. So Miss Falcon is self-contained, which means she teaches all the subjects. The graded papers that we send home look very similar to this, but you will see, I should have brought one if you have one. You will see pretty much it'll look like this. When I send it home, you're going to see this on top with the papers behind it. That way the kids can't see this is going to be on this side. The papers will be on this side. You will go through the papers, whichever one has an R, you'll go ahead and put it on this side after you sign it. So all of your papers will be on this side. And then whatever has an R, you put on this side and then you return it and you keep the other ones at home. So that's how we will do it. It kind of looks like this and it says, it'll tell you only return the papers with the paper, only return papers that are marked with an R for return. And then you sign next to the date and then return those papers. Something else I almost forgot about, and this also I think includes Miss Falcon as well, is AR. We used to take an AR grade. We're not taking an AR grade anymore this year. We want the kids to be able to love to read instead of looking at it as I have to hurry up and fill up my points, my flower. And so they're reading really just to kind of get that flower filled up. And we want them to read for enjoyment. So this year it will not be graded. They will still receive some incentives and some fun little things and fun activities and little things to do, but we want them to read for enjoyment this year instead of reading for a grade. We plan on starting like a little reading program for them to do different activities and stuff to encourage that reading as well. Another thing was water bottles. I think you wanted to talk about water bottles. We're having an issue with some water bottles spilling in the classroom, and it goes all over their book stack and their papers and stuff. So if you could make sure that your water bottle, when it's on, I know some of the kids say, I put it by myself this morning. Well, what happens is it's kind of tilted. And so when it tips over, everything comes out on the floor and it goes all over. So if you could just make sure those are closed tightly. Of course, we know they need them, so please send them. We know that they need them. Another thing is shoe tying. If your student has a trouble tying shoes, we are not tying. We usually tie shoes. We've never had a problem doing that before, ever. But with the virus going around, we're trying not to touch shoes, and everything, because we know they get a lot of germs on their shoes. So if you could double knot them, Velcro them, do whatever that you can, to keep those shoes tied. So that's one thing we're trying to stay away from. We're trying to be as cautious as we can this year. We do make the kids wear masks in the classroom, especially when they're close together. They're always wearing their mask. The only time they will pull it down is if they're answering and they put it right back up. Or if we're doing an activity that they're sitting, away from each other for about 3 minutes, they maybe pull it down, but they put it back up. So we're really big on wearing a mask in the classroom, in the hallway. We clean and disinfect the desk and everything they touch in our classrooms. So just be rest assured that your child is being as protected as possible here at school. Is there anything else about that?
Okay, so I think that's pretty much all that we have prepared to speak about. But if you have any questions, we're going to go ahead and let you type in the chat. That's going to be at the very bottom of your screen. You'll see in the chat.
Oh, I do want to talk about that. That's right. So I'm glad she brought that up though. The cold read. So the cold read is something that they will read on their own. We do not read to them, and it is grade level appropriate, which means it's grade level. They should be able to read those words. So that is the one test. When you see the cold read is the one that has the little paragraph, and then it may have 5 questions. Sometimes it has 4, and they have to answer multiple choice. That is something they read on their own. And that is something that we do every single week. It's nothing they can study for. And I always tell them, don't look at the picture, look at the words, because we look at the evidence to find our answer. So that is the one test that will not be read aloud. The other tests are read aloud to them, with the exception of the sight words in the box.
Right.
Because we study those words at school all day long, just like you guys study them at home. So I read the question, Ms. Falcon will read the question, but we do not read the sight words in the box because we've studied them all week and we want to know if they can use them in a sentence like they've been doing all week long. So the cold read, if your child is a low reader, the cold read will get to them at the beginning. And I always tell the students, it's okay. I have some that will cry because they are low readers, and that's completely normal. It's amazing the growth that they have once we start. We've only been in school, really, we've had for 3 weeks. So be patient, try to read. That is the most important thing you could do with your child. Read 1 sentence, let them try to read 1 sentence if your child is a struggling reader. If they struggle reading any sentences, read the whole book to them. The more that they see and hear you read and see that word, the more that they become familiar with that word and they pick it up and it becomes another word in their vocabulary. So it's very important to read. I always tell parents, if you could just read to your child just for 5 minutes a night, you would be surprised. Same word with the sight words. Like, you would be surprised at one little game that takes, very little time to do. And before too long, you'll have a stack of words. You'll see a big improvement in your child. So just be patient. If you know your child is a struggling reader, know that we are working very hard with them. We know the students we know who they are, and they've been in our intervention group since we've started class. So we've been working really hard with them. So just be patient with them. A lot of them, remember, students learn at their own time and at their own pace. And so it's okay if they're struggling right now. Just an example, I had a student last year that would cry every time he took it. And I told him for the first month, it's okay, baby, do the best you can. Read what words you can and do the best you can. By the time we ended the school, he was probably one of my best readers. And so just be patient if you do have a struggling reader, and just know we're doing all we can. And at home, read as much as you can to your child. Find a book they're interested in. Take them to the library. Let them pick out some books that they love that's on their level that you can read. I would suggest a struggling reader read level 1 is what I would suggest. And again, if they can read a sentence, great. If they can read a whole page, great. But if you need to help them read and they need to listen, that's perfectly fine as well, as long as they're seeing those words and they're listening to you read.
Okay, so I saw, I see Galaxy S20. That's what your name is. That's so funny. Hi, the first 5 minutes of the call, basically, we just discussed the fact that this meeting is recorded for our families who could not attend. So that's pretty much all you missed out on that. And we did wait a little while to give some friends a chance to join. So you should be okay. And I also see Miss Christian needs Miss Feutch's remind code as well. Did you want to?
Yes, I think my remind code is send to 81010, and mine is MRS FEUCHTS.
You want to type it in there, because then maybe they can all see it. Can she type it in there? That's a good idea. And that way they can visually see it.
Let me type it in the chat.
Getting up close.
That is the right code, right?
Oh, yeah,
Sounds
that's right.
around.
Oh my gosh, I have to do that too.
I know. I had to see. Okay, there it is. Right. Oh,
What happened?
It's okay.
It's all right.
hit it.
It's here. It's there. There it is.
Okay. There it is. That is my remind to sign up, so that way you can contact me if you need to.
So you'll text 81010. You're going to text that as the number. And then in the text box,
in the message.
message, you're going to say Miss.
And it has an S for some reason at the end. That's what they gave me.
Okay, are there any other questions? You're welcome, Kristen. Are there any other questions?
And for the one who asked what they missed the first 5 minutes, remember it's being recorded. So if you got the magnet and if you got the sheet of paper that we sent home at the very bottom, I made sure to copy the code, put your phone over it, and it should take you directly to the YouTube link. So it should be uploaded after we send it to Miss Kennedy this afternoon. So if you missed any part of this, the first 5-10 minutes, whatever, you should be able to go back to the YouTube channel to check the information that you missed.
Thank you, Elizabeth Ivy.
Thank you, Miss Ivy.
Okay, any other questions? I think there's anything else. Well, we love your
Yes.
children.
Yes.
I know
very
this week
much.
is, I mean, this school year has been so wild with all the storms and everything going on, but I genuinely miss them so much while we were gone. I sent out a
Mhm.
reminder. I'm like, I really miss seeing their little faces. Oh my goodness. So I think this year's
I
gonna
miss
be a
seeing
great
their
year.
faces, period.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, without the mask. I know. It's so funny. It's so funny. School is so strange now.
Yes.
So
Well, thank you for letting us teach your babies. We
Yes.
appreciate it.
Are there
yes,
any additional questions? It's hard to see.
this is the
I saw Miss Franklin. She was waving her hand. That's how we saw you.
yeah, I'm like someone's smiling.
Let's see the other one. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We're all here and we're all pretty good about responding back real quick, especially with Remind. I know it has hours on there, 8 to 5, we said 8 to 4 or whatever. I will get some if I'm not sleeping by 8:30 or 9, but I will get some about 8:30 or so or 9 o'clock and I'll still respond
Me
back.
too.
So depending on what's going on in my family life, I'm usually pretty quick about responding and I know these two ladies are as well.
Yeah.
So don't hesitate to reach out if it's a simple question, if it's, if you need to contact us for anything else, just don't hesitate to reach out at any time. We know we teach your kids and it's very important. They're with us a lot more during the day than they probably are with you. So we're here if you need us for anything. So just make sure to reach out at any point.
Okay, so last call for any questions, comments, or concerns, and then we'll go ahead wrap up and end the meeting.